Hi, I'm Scott from Underground Nutrition. We're going to try like a little bit of a different format here where I have opinions and I'm going to express them. Steroids and recovery. And recovery, not like training. I mean recovery from drugs and alcohol. So I have been clean and sober for just about 10 years. I think it'll be 10 years in June. So this is a subject that's pretty close to my heart because I am clean and sober, but also have used steroids. So we're going to start a little later in the story, after the drug addiction and after the prison and after all the hard lessons I had to learn to get to here. We're going to start with my first couple years of recovery. Now, some of you may be familiar with Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous. These are two organizations that I owe my life to. It's a love-hate relationship. I have nothing but good things to say about the anonymous groups. But they are opinionated, and I am opinionated, and one of the opinions that we disagree on, at least internally, is steroids. Now, my opinion on this has changed over the years. It's matured. Like anybody else, it's strange to me to think about how I could hold one belief so closely 5 or 10 years ago and almost do a complete 180. This is one of those things. In the beginning, I was completely for using steroids. I wouldn't say that I was an advocate for using steroids, but I certainly wasn't ashamed of it. And this caused a little bit of a rift between my sponsor and a lot of my close friends. There was one side of the argument, which was that steroids is a mind and mood altering drug and it's akin to using. And the other side of the argument was it's not a narcotic. We go to Narcotics Anonymous. It's in the fucking name. And to be honest with you, I was at the point in my life after doing 5 years in prison and being addicted to opiates and cocaine for 5 years prior to that. If I was going to the gym every day and using a little bit of gear, I was fucking winning. And who are you to judge me? But the truth about steroids is that they are mind and mood altering. When we say mind and mood altering, you have to be honest with yourself, whether you like it or not. Testosterone, SARMs, tren, all of these things exacerbate male qualities. So that's going to make you more aggressive, make you hypersexual. It'll inflate your ego. It could make you a narcissist. I mean, anybody who's taken tren knows what it's like to feel like a little mini god. And that's not an exaggeration. If you use the drug, you know what I'm talking about. For the average human being, that's probably not a great look over time. But for somebody who's 90 days clean, it makes for a monster. So you just have to be honest with yourself. And not only does it exacerbate male qualities, but half you motherfuckers aren't buying aromatase inhibitors or anything to do with estrogen. So it's also exacerbating the worst female qualities. So all of those things are just that much more pronounced when you're deep into a steroid cycle. And it doesn't make for a great mindset for recovery, because just like that, you could be impulsive. You can be aggressive. You can get your ass locked up over some stupid fight clean. You know how many times I was arrested clean? 6 times in 3 years. Pretty goofy. My sponsor was not stoked. If somebody new in recovery, like under a year clean, said that they want to do steroids, I would say you're a fucking idiot and your priorities are retarded. But at the same time, I get it. I understand it because I was that guy. And that's what people were saying to me. Your priorities are fucked. And it just so happened to work out for me. But so what? Because if it doesn't work out for you, it's like people say, like, why can't you drink a beer? And I could drink a fucking beer. I could probably drink a beer right now, go home, and never think about it again. Right? But it's a bet. If I'm right, all I got was a beer. If I'm wrong, I lose everything. Like I said, it's about mitigating risk. It's a risk to reward ratio. Is yeah, you could use a cycle of testosterone and Deca or fucking throw in a little tren or whatever. But if you fucking relapse, you lose everything. And if that puts you in a position to relapse, what does it matter? Anybody who's getting into recovery early on should know the risks, because it's very easy to transfer one addiction for another. For me, I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing. I had no money. I had no self-esteem. I was living in a halfway house. I was doing odds and ends work construction jobs that I wanted to just blow my brains out. And the only thing I had any real control over was training. And for me, steroids just went hand in hand with that. I completely did not care about changing my mind at the time. The only thing I wanted to do was change the way I looked, change the way I felt, and how I expressed myself physically in the world. And I was kind of hoping that the mental would follow. Training saved my life. My ability to transfer that addiction that I had for drugs, that compulsion, the ritual behavior into lifting weights. Addicts are addicts because of the drug, but we're also addicted to the ritual. You're sick, you go out, you find it, you do the ritual, you get off at E. It's this whole cyclical thing. And I think a lot of addicts look for that, whether it's relationships or sex or the gym. It's like you have your supplements, you have times that you go, you're releasing epinephrine, dopamine, all the feel-good drugs that you get from training, and you get addicted to that. Not only that, then you can see the results. Turn it to the thing that you want it to turn into. It's quite rewarding. So for a number of years, that worked for me. Luckily, I never relapsed, but a lot of people do. So I don't think that steroids are using. It's not the same. You can't compare somebody who uses a cycle to somebody who uses heroin or even smokes weed every day. You can't. And my basis for that is a societal one. The guy who's using testosterone every single day is not devastating society around him. The heroin user and the drug trade, the illicit drug trade for cocaine and methamphetamine and heroin destroy whole cities. So in that respect, testosterone and steroids is hurting you. But what it does do is it can create an environment within yourself that would make you more susceptible to using, to relapsing. And the whole idea with getting and staying clean is to mitigate risk. Steroids is not a mitigating factor in staying clean. And that's something that I ignored in the beginning. My whole argument for the first couple of years was I'm not using addictive drugs. I'm not using a narcotic. But it's a lot more nuanced than that. The truth is, anybody early in recovery, and even people with 10 or 15 years clean, need to approach steroids, SARMs, even training as something that could potentially lead them to relapse. It's all about mitigating risk. And I was lucky. I was mature enough to use those types of things for as long as I did, and nothing happened. But everybody around me, even though maybe their arguments were poor, at the end of the day, they were saying just that. You're putting yourself at risk for making a mistake. You know, you have needles around. Some people can't handle that shit. When I was at my peak, this was Boston Lloyd, Team 3cc, Rich Piana, and I had that mindset. I thought it was cool. I had the Eat Clean, Trend Hard, Eat Clean, Trend Hard t-shirts, Team 3cc. And now I look back at all that shit as fucking cringe. It's super cringe. They're both dead. Rich Piana is dead. Boston Lloyd is dead. And, you know, you could argue whether it was steroids or street drugs, but it's that mindset of die young, big coffin. You know, like, who cares? And I think it's a cringe mindset. There is a way to use steroids responsibly and lower risk associated with it. Most people are just winging it. A lot of people just get lucky. You use gear your whole life. You go to a doctor, you get on TRT, you get your blood work done, you stay pretty healthy. I mean, I'm a big advocate for TRT. I'm a big advocate for guys getting their testosterone levels at a functioning level. The foods we eat, plastics, hormonal disruptions all around us. I think it's super important for guys to take TRT. I'm a big proponent of it. If you can go to a doctor and do it right, great. But I don't use steroids like that now. I'll go to a doctor and do TRT, but I also use a little street Anavar. I'll take a little Masteron. I tell myself that this is totally acceptable, but I know the truth. The truth is that I want to look a certain way. And it's impossible to look the way that I want to look in my mind without gear. I don't care what anyone says. To be a 250, 260 pound, sub 10% body fat is not real. And unfortunately, in my mind, if I don't look like that, it bothers me. And for the last couple of years, I haven't. So what's my point in this video is that I don't believe that steroids are using. I think that you can claim clean time and claim sobriety on TRT, on SARMs, on a full fucking cycle. At the end of the day, nobody can take your clean time. We all know what clean is. But is it optimal? No. And are you adding aggravating factors to the potential of relapse? Yes. So my suggestion to people who are early in recovery is to think twice. And if people are telling you that you're not clean in meetings, go up and cop your tag. Don't listen to anybody. At the end of the day, listen to your heart. But just be honest with yourself. That's it. If you guys want to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe. If you want to hear any more about my crazy story, leave a comment. Top 3 anabolic foods in prison. Best 3 exercises in the yard. No, I don't want to talk about that shit. I mean, I would for 10,000 subscribers. Help me get to 10,000 subscribers and I'll tell you what I ate in prison.